Hi everyone, and welcome to session 2 in Bali series from Ubud, Bali. I'm really excited about doing these 3 videos, and incidentally you can actually do, there's no set, I need to do 1 or 2 or 3 in a row. You don't have to worry about that. You can actually pick out the videos and just do them individually. They just stand alone basically. But this is the second one I'm doing. Now, traditionally, what I usually do is I usually talk a lot about meridians, channels, which is traditional Chinese medicine, and you probably heard it with Qigong and whatnot. But of late, I've been doing other kinds of things. I've been going back more to traditional yoga and also other themes that resonate with me. So today we're going to do, and before we get started on today, just to let you know that Bali is, even though we're in the jungle here, there's construction everywhere. And every time you go here, you're always totally amazed about what's going on. They're building. So for instance, over the back fence here, there's guys building a new property. So there might be some noise coming up from time to time, like hammers, electric saws. That's just normal here. So you just have to bear with it. I'll try and hopefully it won't be so noisy. Today's been a little bit quieter, which is lovely. So hopefully we'll continue on with that. So today the theme is called Tuning in Yin. And why did I decide to go with that? Well, most of the time in yoga, there's always a checking in point throughout the practice. Checking sensations, checking in to see where you're at. And it's a constant thing. And I thought, let's make a theme of this for the practice. So the invitation for you is to keep checking in all the time. And I'll remind you throughout the class. And it's such a wonderful thing. And what I mean by checking in also is, where am I feeling something? Is it the left side of the body or the right side, in the middle? Is it in my head? Is it just pulsating things of light, or can I feel anything? So just check in, and you don't have to ask questions of inquiry about it. You can, but you don't have to. You can just go straight into it, and just observe. So now with the Yin class in particular, it's always good to have props. So I don't have my usual props at home. Obviously I'm in Bali, so I've just grabbed some cushions from the bed and the couch, and I've also got this thing which is really handy, and it's just a little blanket or a towel which I'll put underneath my my knees, and just to take the pressure off, because this floor here is tiles and it's really quite hard on the knees. I've only got a really thin mat, a travel mat. So, comfortable seated position, being cross-legged. You can go kneeling if you want, choice is yours. Little fly, get rid of them. And then just give yourself a little bit of a wiggle when you find your spot, and allow yourself to land. And then gently close your eyes, resting your hands anywhere on your lap or on your knees. And this is an opportunity just to check in. So we're starting the tuning in. How is my breath today? How is the mind? Which feels more dominant today, the left or right side? Or none of all? And as you check in, use the breath to soften the body. So inhaling in, and as you exhale out, allow the shoulders to roll away from the ears. Arms are starting to relax. Your face is relaxed. And use every exhalation to relax something out, something else in your body. Torso is relaxed. Pelvis relaxed. Legs, toes, the whole body relaxed. And as you feel into the relaxed body, just set a little intention today of how you want to practice. You may want to be kind, you may want to go a little bit harder in the body, you may want to really feel in. So whatever resonates for you, allow that to land. And then inhaling in through the nose, open mouth sigh, and again. Once more. And inhaling in through the nose and out through the nose. And in through the nose and out through the nose. And this time inhaling in through the nose and just pausing. And then when you feel it's right to do so, exhaling out through the nose. So coming back to your natural breath. And just do another check-in or tune in to see where you're at now. And then raising your hands into prayer. And we'll open up the class with a traditional Om. So if it doesn't resonate with you, you can just listen into the vibrations. So we'll inhale in through the nose, open mouth sigh. We'll now go to the Om, so inhaling in through the nose. And very gently open your eyes. All right. So we're going to move into a posture now. Not very yin, I know, but this is something I do every day and I find it really lovely just to work into the spine. And they're called Sufi rolls. There are other names for this and they come from Kundalini Yoga. Basically placing your hands on your knees and you're just using the breath to come up in one direction, exhaling to come down through the nose. And just in this way, you can go shallow or deep. And then reverse, starting off slow with the Sufi rolls. And then when you feel even, just coming back to center, gently open your eyes if they were closed. I'm just going to remove the props off the floor. I'm going to come onto hands and knees. And I'm just pushing the prop off there. Now you may want to put in a blanket underneath your knees at this point, because we're going to come into a child's pose. But it's going to be a little bit different from what we did in session 1. So knees are out to the sides of the mat, big toes are touching, and you may want to stay like this for a little while and just breathe into those sensations and tune in. But if you're with me, just gently walking the hands forward and then placing the forehead on the floor. But if you can't do that, I'm not going to place my forehead on the floor because of the microphone I've got here. I'm just going to hang out here for several breaths, and then I'm going to move into the next posture in this kneeling position. So 2 more breaths in and out. And then getting the right arm and placing it underneath the left armpit. Now there's options here. You can place your head on the floor. Some people like to roll their head off to the side so that your right ear will be on the floor. Some people like to have a prop under their head. You can also have your left arm bent, supporting your head with the palm of your left hand. Lots of options. And play round with it. And then when you find something that works for you, find your still place, find your breath, and tune into this shape. So we're here for a couple of more minutes. And as I always say in this practice, or in the Yin practice, or any yoga practice, we're not looking for pain in yoga. It's okay to be uncomfortable, sure, that's fine. And uncomfortable is actually quite good because it actually helps through everything in life. There's always come into uncomfortable situations, but they never last long, or they never last forever. So they help us process. That's the thing I love about yoga, is that there's always something to learn. And then tune into the sensations. Where are you feeling the sensations? Is it in your right arm that's underneath your left armpit? Is it how your brain or your mind is processing what's happening right now? Is it positive or negative? All right. 2 more breaths. And then on the last one, inhaling in, open mouth sigh. Unraveling yourself so the right arm comes forward in front of you, bringing the head down. Now you may wish at this point to come into a closed child's pose. So you can actually bring your knees together, place the forehead on the floor or on a cushion, and just allow the blood to come back into your arms. And then just tuning in again, checking in. And then when you're ready, if you're in the child's pose, knees come out to the edge of the mat. Not talking very well today. Arms come forward, and this time you're actually threading the left arm underneath the right armpit. And then you notice, check in. There seems to be a bit more movement in this side for me today than the other side.
So tuning into that. Now you can put, you have the right arm active, but you can also have it in a passive way as well. So with Yin Yoga, we're looking for an edge in the practice or the posture. And an edge is about 75% of where you can go. It can be less, but it's around about that percentage. So how you know you're there is if you've gone too far and you think, oh, this is not working, back it off until you feel like you're just working into the posture. And that could be less than 75%. It might even be 60, 65%. But you'll know where it is just by shifting a little bit up and down in the shape. So if you had your particular ear on the floor from the previous side, whether it was left or right, make sure you do the opposite on this side. If you've got props, that's great. Place them under your head or your hands. I find with Yin, it's about, we tend to do a lot of building. So you're basically placing props underneath armpits or legs and that. There's one teacher that I know when I did my first teacher training, she used to say, basically fill the gaps. And that's quite true. And just keep sending breaths there. As you tune in to where you're at, use the breath as a guide. Yin has the ability to bring a lot of things up, but it also processes a lot. And this can be quite a beautiful practice. I find it's such a lovely practice. And I always feel different and quite at peace after this. All right, we've got several breaths more to go. In through the nose, out through the nose. And then with the last breath, in through the nose, and a cruisy sigh. Then very gently unraveling yourself, coming up. Now, coming up onto all fours. And this shape is called tabletop or 4-point. I'm just going to move through some cat-cows. So not traditional Yin at all, but you'll probably notice if you've come to a lot of my classes in Sydney or done some online, this is a shape that I do a lot. And I do this because I find it really helps with the movement of energy and blood through the body after long held shapes. So cat-cow is basically tailbone goes up, belly towards the floor, chin and forehead towards the ceiling, and the opposite on the exhalation. So 3 more rounds. And then coming back to center once you finish those rounds. Now, if you've got a blanket, I'd highly recommend you get the blanket now if you're on something really hard. If you've got a yoga blanket on carpet, then that's fine. But I'm going to place this towel underneath my knees. We're going to come into quite a strong posture now. So I do recommend you have some props on standby. And this shape is called quarter dog. So from hands and some 4-point, like we were before, we're getting the left arm, placing the forearm on the floor, extending the right arm out, and then from here, very gently placing the head onto the forearm. Now you can see that my hips are not towards the heels, they're above the knees. So this is the shape that you're going in. If you're finding that you've got that the extended right arm that is active, it's starting to hurt, just gently lower that onto the floor. If you think that you need a prop, close to your bent left arm so you can put your head on it. By all means, use whatever's available for you. So find your shape, find your still place, then find your breath, and then tune in. And whatever arises, let it arise. And then you can always send a breath there. Now, if you're thinking, I don't know, Gary, if I can hold this for the full 3 minutes, that's okay. You can come out, and you can also come into child's pose if you like, which we're in at the start, and you're going to be your arms floating in front or behind. This is your practice. I'm just guiding with some of these shapes. Keep sending a breath into the body, and then tune into your heart. What is your heart feeling? And then start using the heart as an anchor to tune into. So whenever the mind wanders, come back to the heart, send a breath there, and tune in. All right. Last deep inhale. Open mouth eye. Very gently making your way up onto 4-point again. And just going through some cat-cows like you did before. So your fingers are pointing forward, shoulders over elbows and wrists. Tailbone goes up, belly towards floor, chin and forehead to the ceiling, and opposite on the exhalation. And then setting yourself up on the other side. So if you're using props on the other side, this is what you do here as well. Set them up. Right arm is bent, left arm's extended. You can put some activity into that right arm, or you can have the elbow on the floor. And then tune into what's different on this side. Is it more pleasant? Is it really uncomfortable? It's always about the felt experience in the body. Not necessarily what the felt experience is in that active mind, but when you use shapes, what is that felt experience? And then tune into it. So it's interesting on this side. For me, it feels easier today. And yet when I did this shape yesterday, it wasn't so easy. So it swings and roundabouts all the time. The important thing of all this is that you don't have to judge any of this. You just got to notice it, tune into it. Easy breath in and easy breath out. Last deep inhale. And a cruisy sigh. Very gently coming up, walking your hands back towards you, back into 4-point again. I'm just going to move my props up a little bit. Right leg extends. You're on the ball of the foot and doing those gentle pulses. So just pulsing back and forth. Now, once again, you're looking for about 75% of where you can go with the pulse. Right leg back to center, left leg extends, ball of foot, and those gentle pulses. And tune into what feels different on this side. Back to center. So coming into a seated position, I'm moving some props off to the floor. Make sure you grab a prop to sit on. I'm going to come into a classic yin posture. Of course, I use this in all sorts of yoga, but from a yin perspective, this is one of the ones we use a lot. So we're coming into butterfly. Now, butterfly, feet are together, but in yin we can allow them to roll out to the sides if that's what your body build is like. So you can actually have it out to the sides. You can have props underneath your knees if they're quite far upright, like so. Now, this shape isn't for everybody. You can have your legs, your feet a little bit further forward if that works for you. Some people, they find this shape almost impossible to do. So you can actually have your feet apart. And this is perfectly okay because they're all different. I like to sit on something as it helps pull the pelvis forward and also helps me to lift into the spine, which then helps energy and also the breath to flow better. So you find your shape. We're going to come into a forward fold. Now, if you want to do some little butterfly flapping of the wings, that's fine. Don't go too hard here. Just little pulses up and down. And then come into a forward fold. If you have blocks or bolsters or props, by all means you can use those. I've got a lovely pillow here. And as you come into the shape, you can also just place your head onto a pillow and come down. You can have your palms facing up if that works for you. I find this is a really yin kind of practice when you have the palms facing up. You're not engaging the floor, and it's a different sensation. But whatever works for you is cool. So you find your shape. Gently fold from the hip creases down. And just allow yourself to hang out here. So I'm going to hang out here for a while. So make sure that you have found a good spot. Then finding your breath, finding a still place while you're in that beautiful shape. So when we're doing these lovely deep, long inhales and exhales, there is an idea that the breath opens the door to our perception, and I totally resonate with that statement. And I also visualize that door opening on an inhalation and exhalation. So it's like a swiveling door to perception. So no matter where you're at, whether the door's opened inwards or opened outwards, you're open to possibilities. So maybe visualize the door and visualize perhaps a large wooden door. And when you're in Bali, there's always wooden doors to houses and places. So imagine as you inhale, the door swings in. And as you exhale, the door opens outward.
Inhaling in, door opens inwards. Exhaling out, door opens outwards. So in your own time, just breathing in and breathing out. And know that I'm breathing in and know that I'm breathing out. There's probably this point in this shape, this butterfly shape, that you may be feeling that you can go a little bit deeper. And if that's the case, there's an opportunity now to go slightly deeper by using the breath. So on an exhalation, just allow your body to go a little bit deeper if that's working for you today. If you go into the shape a little bit deeper and you think, oh no, this is not working for me, then by all means, just back off a little bit. We're here for about another minute. Constantly tuning in to what you're experiencing. Throughout the journey of a shape, it can be different for every shape. For instance, it might be strong when you come in and then it eases off a little bit. Or it might be the opposite. You might think, oh, this shape is great. And as you stay in it, you're thinking, oh, I need to get out of here. Just tune into that and without judgment, just identify where you're at. All right. So gift yourself one last inhalation in your butterfly shape. Open mouth sigh. Gently walking your hands back to your knees, placing your hands on the knees. Now this is an interesting shape. It comes from a wonderful teacher that I go to her classes all the time in Bali. And this shape comes from her. So placing the hands on the kneecaps, arching backwards, chin and forehead towards the ceiling. And just let everything go. So a couple of more breaths here. And then once more. Back to center. I'm going to come into a really lovely posture called Cosmic Egg. Those of you who know it, come straight into it. Those of you who don't, bent knees, heels are close to your bum. You're wrapping your arms around you. You can sit on something if you like. I prefer not to in this shape. Now your feet can be on the floor or they can be raised. Traditional Hatha, we would raise the feet off the ground, but Yin, we're just looking for that really lovely sweet spot. And it's within your practice, gently bowing your head down towards your knees. Once again, tune in to where you're at. And just use the breath and the energy of the breath to lubricate your body. Imagine it going to all the joints, all the connective tissue, and just making it that little bit sweeter. Last deep inhale. Open mouth. Back to center, raising the head up. And just making your way onto your belly. Keeping the props handy. I'm going to come into a Sphinx pose. So a Sphinx pose, traditional Sphinx, we would have the arms, the elbows underneath the shoulders. But in Yin, they're a little bit slightly forward. Fingertips, middle two fingers are pointing forward, but there's options here. If you're thinking, whoa, this is a bit strong, you can actually place some props underneath your torso just to give you support. You can cross your arms as well. Some people love this, especially if they've got lower back issues. And because we're here for several minutes, it's finding that sweet spot where you feel really comfortable. Personally, I like to have my hands in prayer. Some people like to interlace as well, but you can also come in a pose called crocodile pose. So the elbows are bent and you're catching your head or your chin with cupped hands. What you'll notice though is this can become a little bit stronger in the lower back, which I actually really like, but some people might find it quite strong. So come into your shape again, tune into what works best for you. Feet are out to the side. Shoulders are rolling away from the ears. And then if you like, you can lower your head down a little bit. And you can rock from side to side. And just releasing what needs to be released. Coming back to that still place and settling in. So there's options now. We're going to come in, we can come into a stronger shape from here. But if you're feeling like, oh, I'm quite happy hanging out in Sphinx or crocodile, you can stay here for a bit longer. For those of you who wish for a stronger option, we can coming into a shape called seal. So palms are placed out to the side like seal's flippers. Once again, you're rolling your shoulders away from your ears. Now this is seal. You can stay like this. If you want something stronger, you can bring your hands in. There's a lot of dancers who really go a bit fuller. For me today, and you can see by bringing your hands in, if you try it, it is quite a lot stronger. We're hanging out here for a bit over a minute. I'm going to slide my hands forward. Still feeling the benefits of this shape. And just tune into the sensations. Where are you feeling the loudest sensations? Lower back, could be the thighs, arms. And if you have chosen this shape and you think, oh, this is getting a bit strong, you can always just come back onto your forearms again and then find the edge in that Sphinx shape. right. Last deep inhale. Cruisy sigh. Those who are in seal, gently coming down into Sphinx. And then from here, palm on top of palm, forehead on top of palms. And this is called, for some, wisdom pose. Just laying your forehead on top of the palms and have a moment here. And if you're like me, when I'm in this shape, you may want to release some sounds. And those sounds could be W-H-O-O-O. So it's so like a really big sigh. So we're going to do that 5 times. So inhaling in. And then in your own time, another 4. And once you've finished that 4, gently coming back to the natural breath. So in Qigong, the breath is used a lot like yoga. And coming from a karate background as well, the breath is used in a very similar way. And my old sensei, he used to have lots of breathing techniques that are really interesting, different from yoga. He's a wonderful man, and the practices I learned from him live with me to this day. And I started practicing when I was 15, and he's now a kaicho, which is a 9th Dan black belt, the highest you can go in karate. And it's just so nice to know that that's what he achieved. So if you haven't finished the practice, do so now of the breath, coming back to center. And then just making your way up and probably coming to a place where I can demonstrate this next posture so you can see. I'm just going to move my timer off to the side. So, this is a practice that's not taught a lot from what I've seen. And there's probably reasons for that. It's probably space, but I really love this next shape. And it's called cat pulling its tail. Weird name, right? And most of the yin postures have weird names. And there is a reason for that. And I believe the reason is that because people were coming from traditional hatha yoga or classical yoga, the guy who or the people who put yin together wanted to make sure that people weren't just going into a posture without really thinking about what they were doing first. I don't believe this is a hatha posture anyway, but that's one of the reasons. So, as you can see, I'm lying on my left side. My knees are bent at this stage, and I'm supporting my body with my bent left arm, so fingers are pointing forward. So what I'm going to do now to come into cat pulling its tail, I'm going to come down, lying on the left side. What happens now is, now you can keep your legs bent, or you can get your right leg, comes out to the side, and then you can catch your left leg. So now the cat's pulling its own tail. You can stay, or you can flop down. And some people find this really hard, but this is a beautiful posture. We're here for several minutes. If you want to keep the top leg bent, by all means do so. You can just have it on the floor. If you want to come back upright. So just find that sweet spot for you, 75% of where you can go. I'm going to hang out here for another 2.5 minutes.
And just keep tuning into what you're feeling inside. If you can't catch that lower foot, no worries. You don't have to catch it. Not with anybody, everybody's can do that. So you can just leave it bent on the floor. So you might be feeling it in the hamstrings. You could feel it in the calves, the extended leg. And whatever the sensations you're feeling, identify them, send a breath there, and then also send some energy there on the breath. You could pick a colour, maybe white or blue or whatever colour resonates with you that's pulsating energy to that sensation. So tuning in. So 1 more minute to go in this shape. So keep connecting to the breath. Keep connecting to where the breath lands within you. And if the mind's constantly wandered, you know where your anchor point is, that heart. Keep coming back to or tuning into the heart space. And just noticing what you notice. And always creating a slow rhythm of breath. Last deep inhale. And a wonderful, gently unraveling yourself. And then, with great news, coming into a rebound. Now, rebound is like a mini Shavasana. It's lying on the floor. You can have your hands placed on your body. If your legs are flopped out to the side. You might want to extend your legs out a little bit further if you've got time. It's really nice to come into a really wide rebound. And we're here for a moment. Notice what you're experiencing with this rebound. Two more breaths in and out. And then on the last breath, make a lovely sound out through the mouth, like the sound of a sigh. And then you know we have to do the other side of cat pulling its tail. So I'm just going to transfer over so I'm facing the camera. So we're on the left side before, now we're onto the right side. So knees are bent, supporting the head with the arm. Now you might want to just grab the bent knee, the leg that's closest to the ground with your left arm. Or you might want to go into the full version, which is both legs are out, left leg comes over, grabbing the right bent knee with the left arm, bent leg. And then if you want to go into the full practice, just extending the arm, right arm down and just rolling down, supporting your head with that extended arm. So once again, we're hanging out here for a little while. And what's different on this side? For me, it's definitely a little bit tighter. So as we did before, I'm just sending an energy breath there, pulsating light to that point where I tuned into before.
coolness of the breath on the inhalation and warmth of the breath on the exhalation. Know that I'm breathing in and know that I'm breathing out. Last long deep inhale. Open mouth. Very gently unraveling yourself. And just coming onto your back, but grabbing a pillow, because we're going to use that in the shape that we're in, or if you've got a block, that's probably ideal. So lying on your back, bending the knees, and grabbing that cushion and putting it underneath, lifting your hips up and putting it underneath your sacrum. This shape is called pontoon. Now you can stay like this if you're thinking, oh, this is great. But if you want something a little bit stronger, you can extend the legs out. And if you're thinking, yeah, maybe I can go a little bit more, you can float the arms over. Now this doesn't work for anybody. If you've got shoulder injuries, you may find that this is quite strong. So you can interlace your hands behind you, behind the head, or you can bring the arms back down the sides. I know that people have had shoulder injuries or surgery on the shoulders. This could be quite strong. And we're hanging out here for a couple of minutes. Some people really love this shape and other people don't like it at all. I've had people actually fall asleep in this shape in my class. And sometimes I get a little bit embarrassed and I say, hey, don't worry about falling asleep. Never worry about falling asleep in a yoga class. If that's what your body wants, then it's perfectly cool. And all the teachers that I know who I'm friends with, they would say, yeah, for sure. That's what your body wants. So there's no judgment. And when I was, before COVID, I used to teach at this massive gym. And I used to get mothers and their daughters would come into the yin class and the mother would basically just lie on the floor, go to sleep. And I totally get it, particularly with some of these mums because their daughters were in the final year of high school. So your yoga studio can be a really lovely place just to get back some time for yourself. All right. Last deep inhale in pontoon. Open mouth, sigh. Bending the knees. Raising the hips off the floor. I'm going to do something a little bit different. So extending the legs out, the left leg out, keeping the right leg bent. So the foot is on the floor, arms are out the side or in a T shape. And then you're just lifting up, lifting up your hips and moving your hips a little bit to the right, lifting up your left knee and coming into this lovely supine twist. So you can look over your right shoulder or you can look upright. Whatever works for you. We're not here for terribly long, just feeling into those sensations. Tuning in constantly. And isn't that interesting that I noticed that in my own body there was tension in this shape. And then I just sent a breath, released, and then from that, able to go a little bit deeper.
Okay, last breath on this side. Coming back to center, extending the right leg out. Left leg bends this time, just adjusting yourself with your pelvis or your hips. And then going to move the hips over to the left side a bit, bring that left knee up, and this time you're over to the right side. So you can actually use your right hand to place on top of your your right thigh. Sorry, right hand on your left thigh. And then once again, wherever your head was in the previous shape, whether it's looking away or it's looking up, just the same on this side, so they get balance. Two more breaths in and out. And on the last breath, inhale, open mouth eye. Coming back to center, adjusting the hips back to center, lifting the knees up, some small rotations in one direction, and then the other. And then with great news, coming into Shavasana. So Shavasana is very much like the rebound, except it's longer, and it's time to let go and just check in with how you're feeling. So I'm going to fade my voice out and allow you some time here to use the breath to let go and let gravity take hold. And I'll let you know when it's time to come out. So those of you who wish to stay a bit longer in Shavasana, by all means stay as long as you like. Those of you who are feeling that it's time to move, just gently bring some small movements to your toes and fingers. Using the breath, inhaling deeply, nice little sighs. And just remembering where you are in the room. And then when you're ready, just rolling over onto your preferred side and just ensure that you support your head with your arm and have a moment to tune in. And then when you're ready, just gently coming up into a seated position, bringing your hands into Anjali, an offering mudra. Keeping your eyes closed or downcast. And we'll close out the class with an Om. But first, inhaling in through the nose, open mouth sigh, and
Now the Om, so inhaling in through the nose. And bowing forehead to fingertips. And just acknowledging yourself for practicing yoga today. Acknowledging the people who support you. Acknowledging the teachers of these wonderful yoga practices. And also acknowledging the greatest teacher of all, which is your internal self, as we say, Namaste. And then very gently open your eyes. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that. I'll be back for the session 3. So that'll be happening soon. But until then, enjoy the rest of your week, if you're on a weekend or wherever you're at. And I will see you back on the mat. And bye for now. Thanks, everyone.